Greetings, YouTube. I don't really remember there being a lot of hype ever for the featured 6-star hero crystal. In fact, the last one was a steaming pile of trash. It would even be like an insult to the word dumpster fire because there were just so many bad champs. Kabam did an awful job with it, and the community spoke up about it, and rightfully so. Somebody from Kabam must have been listening. We have a rare angel in Canada, if you will, because we have a new 6-star featured hero crystal that's way better than the last one. Now, of course, the question becomes, is it worth 15,000 6-star shards? And for most people who aren't in Platinum or certainly the Master level of Alliance War and they aren't getting 6-star shards just crazy amounts every week, or they're not rich and they're not just opening up thousands and thousands of units worth of Cavalier and featured Cavalier crystals, which also gets them 6 stars since they're duping so many 5 stars, you may still not want to go for this, because if it takes you a couple months to open a 6-star crystal, and that's just the basic, the 10,000 shard one, then you may just feel that it's not worth the extra 5,000. I wouldn't blame you to go for the feature regardless of who's in it. But I will say this, July 4th is going to be in this window of this new featured 6-star crystal, and July 4th has historically been a day that Kabam is pretty generous about throwing in 6-star shards with the unit deals where you get the units included in them. And if that's the case, you're going to have an opportunity just once to get more 6-star shards than you normally would have in a attempt to get your hands on what I'm sure will be the top prize, which is a 6-star Coal Obsidian, as the gameplay of the lucky people who pulled 6-star Coal Obsidian in the first round of the featured Coal Obsidian crystals has just been extraordinary. And even though his awakening ability certainly helps, I have seen some amazing damage done with a unawakened 6-star Coal Obsidian. Heck, an unawakened 5-star for that matter, still done a lot of damage. So let's talk a little bit about the new 6-star featured hero crystal. You will find it when you scroll down underneath the 4-star hero crystal labeled, hey, what do you know, featured 6-star hero crystal. So I'm going to do the same thing I did for the 5-star dungeon review of last time, and I'm going to talk about whether this champion is a stud, a dud, or a game-changing, roster-changing level champion as a 6-star. And keep in mind, there are 24 champions every time one of these crystals has appeared, so there is a 4.2% drop rate to get that champion. That still means that there's about a 96% chance you won't pull that champion, and that is a pathetic drop rate when you consider that it's an extra 5,000 6-star shards, which is still incredibly hard to get in the game. So let's look at this. It's going to start out with a guy that I don't know how I feel, the green Power Ranger. I call him Annihilus, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I still don't know if Annihilus is right. Some people have told me, Prof, you're butchering it. Some people have said it sounds right to me. That's how I say it. Sorry if I'm butchering it. But I don't know how to feel about this champion. I don't think he's a bad champion, but I don't think he's a great champion. I think he's just somewhere between stud and dud. Certainly more stud than dud, but not Coal Obsidian, right? Captain America World War II, for the sake of this crystal, is a dud. You can get that champ for the 10,000 basic. Captain Marvel, this is the new Captain Marvel, is a stud. I've got some people, in fact, who would say she's not just a stud, she's a game-changing champion. So for the sake of those who know how to play her, and certainly I don't pretend like I do, we're going to go ahead and actually put her in the game-changing champion pool. For those of you who play around with her, does she have to be at high sig to be that roster-changing champion as a 6-star? Comment below, let me know. As always, your advice is appreciated. Carnage is a new 6-star, and I'm excited about Carnage. I'm excited to have this champion in this. I do think Carnage helps a lot to be awakened, and so that is a bit of a bummer. Coal Obsidian is the top prize of this, though. He is the roster-changing champ. You've got Captain Marvel roster-changing, Carnage stud, Coal Obsidian roster-changing value, and then Domino. Thank God they needed to put either Domino, Corvus, Ghost, or 2 or all of them, they wouldn't have put all of them, in this in order for me to think, okay, they care about the past, instead of like, hey, let's put 2 more Cyclops in this. In fact, I don't see Cyclops in this. The title of this video might as well be, finally a 6-star featured crystal that doesn't have Cyclops, right? Beam your overrated beam somewhere else, Cyclops, and that makes me sad because I grew up playing the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64, and I remember playing X-Men games where Cyclops was like my favorite champion to play. And in this game, he's just, he's okay, even awakened. But yeah, so Domino, game-changing, roster-changing champion. This is coming from somebody who owns a rank 2 6-star unawakened Domino, and she is still one of my top 5 champs that I bring into everything, especially with Red Hulk. I do not yet have a Massacre at 5 or 6-star, which is why my Act 6 progression has stalled. But yeah, Domino, you pull that out of this, and it is a well-earned 15% drop rate. In fact, you won't have a better chance to pull a Domino probably ever than this crystal, and that may be worth the 5,000 extra 6-star shards for those of you who have the ability to collect them in time. Doctor Strange as a 6-star is fascinating. This guy got nerfed to the ground. He got his balls taken away. I'm just going to be blunt. And he has not recovered. He's been nerfed multiple times. They just don't respect Doctor Strange at all. He used to be so much fun to play with. His regen was awesome too. Now he's like a shell of himself. He's a ghost of what he was. And so I'm actually going to put him more as a dud than a stud. I would not be excited to play around with a 6-star unawakened Doctor Strange. Gambit should also be amazing. He's my favorite X-Men in the X-Men universe. But other than that Stunlock with the special one, I think he's just kind of not great. He's a dud. Human Torch, a lot of people have been hating on Human Torch. She is one of my favorite champions to play with. Kind of like Ronin, you can stack, in this case, the Incinerates and just have fun. And that's why I like playing this game, to stack damage and just watch it tick down. So I'm going to say Human Torch is a stud. Not a game-changing, roster-changing champion like Captain Marvel or Cold Obsidian, but still not a dud. Juggernaut is a dud. And that is a horrible pull if you spend 15,000 featured 6-star Hero Crystal Shards on a Juggernaut. And there will be lots of Juggernaut pulls because Kabam likes to lace these things with Juggernauts. Korg is also an interesting addition. They're probably doing this for defense. So, I accidentally got a better defender to drain more units out of you in the new season of Alliance War. I see what you're doing, Kabam. Korg, solid 6-star, obviously also really helps to be awakened. Mephisto is a intriguing one given the new changes in Alliance Quest, as which they even name-dropped Mephisto in their write-up, saying, he's a champion a lot of people want to bring into Alliance Quest now. And I do see with the Incinerate and the Cold Snap immunities how valuable Mephisto would be. Moon Knight is a champion that deserves better. I think the Moon Knight should be at its best, not just with the Moon phase being dependent on that. It's still such a bizarre thing. So the Moon Knight is a dud. Mephisto's a stud. Korg's a stud. Moon Knight's a dud. Morningstar is a stud, especially if you get that 6-star awaken. But yeah, Nick Fury, stud, especially for synergies. Nightcrawler, I have Nightcrawler awakened, and I have to say, stud. I have loved fighting with Nightcrawler, so underappreciated. Red Skull, dud. Rocket Raccoon, in this case, dud. Ronin, stud. Kind of like, my boy Human Torch, fun to play with. The bleed damage isn't going to, wow you, but it's going to be fun. Spider-Man Classic in this, dud. Storm, dud. Ultron, I'm super excited to be in here because I'm a huge fan of Ultron. He got a little nerfed in patch 12.0. People might forget that. But at the same time, I'm glad he's available as a 6-star. Wasp, love, especially for synergies with Ghost. I have a 6-star, would love to awaken my Wasp. And then Yondu is also a stud. Highly underappreciated champ. Still has some value on defense, but also a lot of value on offense, especially with that special 1 heal block. So, overall, I think this is the best featured 6-star Hero Crystal we've seen, partially because we don't have the Abomination, not to be confused with the Champion Abomination, known as Cyclops in it. But at the same time, 15,000 6-star shards is still such a huge price for the average summoner to pay for a crystal. If you really just feel like, and I don't blame you if you do, that a 6-star Cold Obsidian or a 6-star Domino, or maybe a 6-star Captain Marvel, is going to be that roster-changing champion that you need, especially as we get the new Chapter 2 of Act 6 rolling out in the game very soon. And you just, I instead of opening up one basic 6-star, I'm going to open up one of these. I don't blame you. In fact, 6-star Domino is the number 1 6-star on my roster right now. Even though I use Corvus every day in Alliance Quest, and Ghost is probably going to be ranked 2 at some point, Domino is somebody that I bring in for everything. And so I may be talking myself into a featured 6-star crystal myself, given what I hope to see in regards to the added and increased 6-star availability of the shards on July 4th. And that'd be really fun to open with my brother, as I will be seeing him and my boy Pep 1000 in person, knock on wood, that week of July 4th. Can't wait to meet him. So there you have it, YouTube. Are you hyped up about this, or do you still think that there should be some better champs? Certainly I get how depressed I'm going to be if I awaken my Juggernaut from this thing, although Juggernaut Awakened is still better than not awakened. But, there's not as many trash champions. You don't have Cyclops in this thing, as I've said before, and you do have some really, really solid featured 6-star champs. So I see the appeal. I think I'm going to save my six-star shards for this and open it with my brother, celebrate America's independence from a Canadian company that celebrates it more than other holidays, which is always confusing to me, but whatever. It's a new feature 6-star crystal. Better than nothing. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. You've got 83 plus days to save up for it.